All right, racism. Everybody knows what that is. Let's watch.
To South Korea, the land of perfect skin, perfect idols, and the K-face. That sounds cool until you realize this place is racist as hell. And it's not just racism. They went from dirt poor to richer than Japan in 30 years. Somewhere between building Samsung and perfecting fried chicken, they decided that looking down on poor people was a sign they'd finally made it. Today, I'm showing you how South Korea discriminates against people who share their exact DNA, and a lot of others. And before you come at me for being racist, wait for the end.
It is social status. It's literally how much money you have. All right, that's the video, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We just summarized an 8-minute video in 30 seconds. Have a good night, everybody. Prop. That's actually not true. There's probably more details beyond this. The first thing that you gotta know, it's straight up how much money you are. Or money you are? It's straight up how much money you have.
When South Korea got rich, like really rich, something
Speaking
weird
of, I'm
happened.
gonna go
The
shopping.
country started
All right,
acting
see you
like
later.
it had just
Enjoy
joined an
shopping.
exclusive country club, and immediately became obsessed with keeping out anyone who wasn't wearing the right outfit. After the Korean War, Korea had its rapid economic transformation in the 70s through 90s, also known as the Miracle on the Han River. It took the country from poverty to wealth in a single generation, but that rapid wealth created a mental hierarchy. Rich countries equals modern and superior. Poor countries equals backward and inferior. That's like when your family finally starts earning money and suddenly your mom is judging other people's houses. Because the richest, most powerful countries in the world are mostly Western and white, South Korea started copying their attitudes. South Korea looks up to the US more than any other country in the world. They began seeing themselves as part of the white club of developed nations, even though
I can agree with that. You want to know what one of the biggest status symbols in Korea is? An iPhone. If you guys want to search up like Samsung Korea, Apple Korea to see what websites Koreans go to buy tech products, go on Google, search up apple.com/kr or apple.kr. That's how you access the Korean website. And you want to know something that's going to happen when you first go to that website? These iPhones, the premium is fucking expensive. Let's say this iPhone costs $1,000. The iPhone 15 Pro, the one I have, it's the Pro. It's standard, 256 gigabytes, nothing too fancy, right? This ran me about $1,200 probably. You want this exact phone when I got it in Korea, you're easily paying a couple extra $100 for the exact same thing. Why? Well, first of all, it's imported. Second of all, probably corporate executives in Korea know that they can get away with it because, dude, this logo right here, this Apple logo, you want to know who took a bite out of this apple? They did. You did. You bit the apple so you can have the phone. You bit the apple so you can get the MacBook. It's a status symbol. And because Korea went so rich in a single generation, status is all that matters, baby. You gotta look pretty, you gotta talk pretty, you gotta fucking have all the new shit. If you are younger than 50 years old and you don't have an iPhone, you're probably not going to be invited to dinner or karaoke. Sorry.
So, you know, they're not white. But it's not only racism. North Korean defectors escape one of the most brutal regimes on earth. They risk execution, torture, and watching their families disappear into labor camps. They make it to South Korea, the promised land, expecting to finally be safe. And then, South Koreans treat them like garbage. 1 in 5 North Korean defectors reports direct discrimination. At work, at school, in dating, in job interviews, some get bullied so badly they stop telling people where they're from. They hide their background like Filipinos hide their gamer tag. It's hard to distinguish South Koreans from North Koreans until they speak. North Koreans speak Korean slightly differently, and South Koreans mock them for it.
Let me give you an example of that. I saw a video a long time ago where people would give, let's say, ice cream to somebody from South Korea and somebody from North Korea. How do you say ice cream in Korean? Well, let me give you the rundown. We're already watching a video on racism, so let me continue that theme. Say ice cream with a racist accent. Not ice cream, ice cream. Sorry, That's probably the most straightforward way to say ice cream in Korea to somebody who doesn't know how to say ice cream in Korea. Just say it with a racist accent. Ice cream, ice cream, ice cream. That's pretty much it. So, guess what? Guess how the North Korean person said it. 얼음, 과자. 얼음 means ice, 과자 means snack. Ice snack. It fits, right? It does make sense when you have ice cream. It's like an ice snack. It's a frozen snack. But in North Korea, with all the censorship, when they come over to South Korea, they don't know any better. So if they talk to somebody, they're going to say, hey, I want some 얼음 과자. And they're going to judge you for it. And let's be honest, we do the same thing all the time. If we call something one thing and somebody calls it a different thing, our immediate reaction is to respond and go, why'd you call it that? Everybody calls it this. You know what I mean? It's just way more extreme in Korea. And I think the main reason for that is because Koreans are so judgmental. Because I think it comes from a place of ego. Where they're like, man, my family climbed the ranks. We're like super rich now. I'm going to judge the fuck out of you because your parents couldn't do the same thing. It's easy. It's natural for them. Dare I say, you sometimes get rewarded for it. Because some people think that you're like the bougie kid. And if you show other people getting bullied, it just boosts your ego. So it's rewarding. You bully somebody who's poorer than you or is different from you, and suddenly more people pay attention to you. Easy. Not good, but it's easy.
North Koreans train themselves to speak properly just to survive. They literally erase their own voices to avoid discrimination. Imagine having to escape North Korea and then being punished again because of your accent. That's like if I would punish you for not subscribing. And you know I wouldn't, but please, still consider it. Companies won't hire North Korean defectors or promote them. Employers assume they'll be less productive or loyal. Their unemployment rate is double the national average. Their wages are 16% lower than Korean citizens. These are people who share the same DNA, the same ancestors, the same 5,000 years of history with South Koreans, and South Korea still found a way to rank them as inferior. If it was really about culture,
well, it's because they didn't have the newest iPhone. We didn't even talk about status materials yet, but we're getting there. Not pre-watched, by the way. I just know it's coming.
Cultural differences, North Koreans would be welcomed. They're the most homogeneous people you could possibly find, but they're poor, and they're from a failed state, so they get discriminated against anyway. The hierarchy goes deep. There's a Korean saying, 약국 경식, the strong eat the weak, and this holds for all people. South Koreans look down on poor people within their own society as well. Migrants are treated like they're lucky to be there. Poor Koreans, they are seen as failures. This is exactly what Squid Game is all about, showing how society treats the poor like they're disposable, and how the rich just use them for their own benefit.
True.
But you can make yourself look more wealthy. The entire Korean beauty industry, worth billions of dollars, is built around this one message. The whiter your skin, the better your life will be. This is happening in most of Asia, but South Korea does perform more plastic surgery per capita than anywhere on Earth. And the most popular treatment.
And this is because the whiter your skin is, it suggests to you and to other people around you that you don't work outside. It means you have a good office job. It means you are educated. That way you can stay indoors and work in front of a computer and you make the good money. So the paler your skin, the bigger message that you're sending to other people from the outside that, hey, I am not broke as fuck. Because if I was broke as fuck, I would be dark skinned. Because that would mean I had to work physical labor. I would have to stand outside passing out papers like those advertisements that you see. But I don't. You know why? It is because I am white like tofu. And what do you do with that money? You buy status symbols. That further contributes to people seeing you as not a broke bitch.
Is the double eyelid surgery to make eyes.
Culinary Classworks was cancelled, be accused of racism. I need to watch that series.
And this ideal hits women the hardest. Korean women face brutal pressure in job markets and relationships based purely on appearance. Some women report being rejected for jobs because their skin wasn't pale enough. Look at every famous actor, singer, or politician.
Well, since Oh shit, we didn't go full cam. I'm sorry. Go back, go back, go back, go back.
Popular treatment is the double eyelid surgery to make eyes look bigger and rhinoplasty to create taller noses. And this ideal hits women the hardest. Korean women face brutal pressure in job markets and relationships based purely on appearance. Some women report being rejected for jobs because their skin wasn't pale enough. Look at every famous actor, singer, or politician.
Well, if you've been living under a rock, I'm sure you don't know who this guy is. But in case if you don't, Son Heung-min, aka the greatest soccer player to ever do it. Back when my parents were younger, they didn't have Sonny. You know who they had? They had Park Ji-sung. He was the OG Korean soccer fucking superstar. That guy paved the way. I think there's one exception to the whole skin perception in Korea. You can be dark. Just be famous. You better be famous as fuck. Then, people will look past it. People will look at Sonny. Nobody's gonna judge Sonny for being dark. They're not gonna judge him for having an outside job. You know why? It's because he's a superstar, he's famous, he's got the brand deals. Last time I checked, I think he has a sponsorship with like Gucci or Prada. So he wears their clothes all the time. I think it's Burberry. Yeah, he's dark compared to the average Korean, but he's famous. So the rules don't apply to him anymore. He has reached the double standard. He is the exception. But for other people, get fucked, idiot.
Almost all of them are pale-skinned. Nobody even pretends otherwise. They just call it improvement. You might have heard someone say that Korea is fundamentally different and that they can't handle diversity. Both progressives and conservatives use this exact same argument, and both sides are using a racist argument without realizing it. This idea about a country being fundamentally incapable of change is not new. Throughout history, governments have claimed that they couldn't change because it's just who they are. But Western countries aren't different. They didn't accept immigrants because they woke up one morning and decided to be tolerant. They accepted immigrants because they needed workers, and morality is a lot easier when it's also profitable. Look at Australia. The country kept the
that's a fucking bar. Did you hear that guy? Run it back.
And morality is a lot easier when it's also profitable.
That is a fucking bar and a half. Morality becomes easier when it is also profitable. My man. Holy shit. What a fucking line. What a fucking line. That is crazy true. Oh my god. That's crazy. He is 100% right. You attach money-making opportunities, people will be on board no matter what. You can have the worst idea possible. It can fuck over their morals, but the moment you say, you can make some money off of this, it's like they sign up for the NBA because they toss that shit into the trash. Flick the wrist, straight into the trash can. What a fucking line.
Look at Australia. The country kept the White Australia policy until 1973, only 50 years ago. Their population was too small to survive economically. Suddenly, the entire excuse that Australia couldn't handle non-white immigration just disappeared. Germany had the Holocaust. The United States had Jim Crow laws until 1965. But we don't say these countries are fundamentally incapable of change. We recognize that they changed. They changed through new laws, through court battles, and through generational replacement. And this pattern continues today. Britain voted for Brexit explicitly on anti-immigration sentiment. The entire campaign was about stopping immigration. Yet after the vote, immigration to Britain actually stayed high and even increased. So why do they say South Korea is fundamentally different? Real immigration to South Korea started in the 1990s. That's only 30 years of experience. Western countries have had centuries to figure this out. It's like saying a teenager is fundamentally incapable of learning to drive when they've only been practicing for a month. Now let me show you how deep this discrimination actually goes. Because South Korea has a problem. They need workers, but nobody wants to do the dirty jobs anymore. So they import them. From Vietnam, the Philippines, Bangladesh, Nepal, and various African countries. Young men desperate for work, desperate to send money home to their families. What happens next is where the racism stops being subtle. When migrant workers arrive, managers sort them by appearance. Lighter-skinned Asian workers get assigned to better jobs with safer conditions and slightly higher pay. Darker-skinned workers, especially Africans, get the 3D jobs: dirty, dangerous, and difficult, the ones with the highest injury rates. The National Human Rights Commission reports migrant worker industrial accident death rates are 1.7 times higher than Korean nationals, which is a really polite way of saying
Not
we let
surprised.
foreign workers die at twice the rate because we don't care. One extreme example is that since 2015, at least 522 Thai workers have died in South Korea, 84% undocumented. One Thai woman worked 15-hour shifts with 1 day off monthly, fearing she'd fall asleep and never awaken. These little ghosts operate outside legal protection. The government knows this is happening. They just don't care enough to change it, because cheap migrant labor keeps
You know why? Do you know why they won't change? Because it's not convenient. I think a lot of people, they do things out of convenience or necessity. When those two things are not met, people are not going to change. Why do we eat food? Why do we drink water? It is a necessity. So we will take the time to do it. We will get off our asses. We will stop laying in bed. We will go downstairs. We will go across the house. We will get food. We will get water because it is a necessity. What about the other thing? Is it profitable? Let's say I don't want to take out the trash. But let's say mommy and daddy said, hey, broke boy, we will give you $10 every time you take out the trash per trash can. So it's garbage and recycle or green. So every time I do it, I get $20. Suddenly, I'm going to stop bitching. I'm not going to complain that I got to take out the trash because how do I see it now? It is a money-making opportunity. But guess what? We didn't forget about the convenient part. Voice crack, sorry. We didn't forget about the convenient part. Because I made money, how do I see taking out the trash? It's no longer inconvenient. It is convenient for me now. So when it comes to these migrant workers, it is convenient for Korea because they don't need to change. And it's profitable. You know why? Because they can pay them less, they can work them more, and nobody cares. Do you know why? It's because of their skin color.
Construction costs.
Sorry
down,
for the ramble.
Keeps farms running at full capacity. South Korean prosperity is literally built on the backs of people the country refuses to treat as fully human. So is it actually changing? Yes, it is. Younger South Koreans show significantly more acceptance of immigrants than older generations. This is generational replacement, the exact same mechanism that transformed attitudes about segregation in America. When South Koreans actually spend time with immigrants and people from different backgrounds, something remarkable happens. Their prejudice drops dramatically. Real friendships and direct interaction change people's minds far more effectively than education campaigns or government.
Do you know why? It is because they're right in front of each other. I play League of Legends. Am I toxic? Yes. But guess what? If I saw these people face to face, and I will fully admit this, I would not flame them. You know why? It's because there's a human being on the other side of my face. You can be as much of a toxic piece of shit online because you're doing it through a monitor. So people can be online, be racist towards Vietnamese people, Chinese people, Japanese people, any non-Koreans, but the moment they step in front of them, they're not going to do it. They'll do it in private, but are not going to do it face to face. Do you know why? Because there is humanity in these people. There is humanity. But they're not familiar with it. There's decent humanity in everybody. But it's easy for them to ignore it and just be a piece of shit because they're not looking at each other. They don't see you as a human being when you are sitting 500 miles away in front of a computer with one light on in your mom's basement. They just want to flame you because they don't like you. It's easy. It is convenient. Do you think they want to take the time and say, hey, this guy's a human being. We should, you know what? Maybe he had a bad day. I know he entered my lane as the jungler and he never got any objectives. But guess what? I don't like this dude. He made me feel bad. So I'm going to make him feel bad. I don't care if he had a bad day. It's so, what's the word? It is convenient. Sorry. It's like, that's like the best way to describe it. I forgot what I was going to say. So let's just continue.
Mandates. Young South Koreans are actively organizing to fight back. They started the Against Hate Challenge to counter online hate speech and create alternative narratives about immigrants. Civil society is pushing back against the system. Policy changes are beginning to happen. South Korea doesn't have a comprehensive anti-discrimination law yet, which is embarrassing for a developed democracy. However, the government is now discussing new legislation. The language itself is shifting from the phrase illegal immigrant to the phrase undocumented migrant. And these language changes matter because words shape how people think. Of course, not all South Koreans are racist. Many are actively fighting against it. Young people are already different from their parents. The system enables racism, but individuals are pushing back. Hopefully, we will look back at it in a couple of years and see the results of it. If you would like to learn more about racism, then watch my video about Asian versus Western racism here.
W video. Last thing I'm gonna say though. The problem is the generational replacement. There's one thing I'm gonna say. Koreans are not making babies.